want to throw at you an idea here. Why are many young people seduced by the anti-racism campaign that has taken over the country? As you know by now, I believe that not only is America not racist, of course there are racists who live here, but that doesn't make America racist, let alone systemically racist. I think it's the biggest lie about a nation in modern times. And I have all sorts of proofs. I have an article on the internet 2 weeks ago. I wrote 5 arguments against America's racist. You should take a look at it. It's just a column. It takes little time to read it. The most obvious argument is whenever people point to how racist the country is, overwhelmingly it's about trivia. Uncle Ben's rice is racist. They had to take Uncle Ben. This was an actual black man in the 1930s who people so admired because he was such a good entrepreneur and made good rice. It was called Uncle Ben's rice. Why are they taking his picture off? He looks perfectly wonderful. When that is what your battle is, Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben, the Washington Redskins. Do you know that 2 major polls, University of Pennsylvania, I believe,
Okay, so he's talked for a minute or so about people fighting systemic racism in the United States. And his proof that the movement is skewed or something is the fact that companies have decided to remove various images and stuff that they were thought to be racist. Um, he wants to ignore the actual plight of POCs in America, which is like police brutality, uh, 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 generational poverty that they've been forced into, um, from the effects of reverse redlining, Jim Crow, which wasn't that long ago, um, and trying to act like uh, companies deciding to do something is what people fighting against racism in America is are fighting for when that is not the case. Um, let's see what else he is going to say.
I think it was University of Pennsylvania, and Washington Post, that I'm certain of. The Washington Post, which has clamored for years to have the Washington football team renamed to drop Redskins, they did a very big poll. They were sure that the results would show that they were right, that Native Americans, American Indians, thought it was racist. 90%, this is the Washington Post poll 2 years ago. 90% of Native Americans don't care. Many of them, I don't remember the percentage, thought it was an honor. There is an Indian reservation in Arizona that has a high school. I forgot the name of the high school, but there's a high school and its name is the Redskins.
Okay, well, if you still have if you have complaints about the name change of the football group, you're gonna have to complain to a bunch of wealthy people because they are the ones who finally have gotten the change to happen by requesting it. Uh, Maybe now the number of uh, Native Americans are in favor of the name. From information I gathered, there were a number of them that were fighting against the use of the name Redskins for the football team as well as various schools. Uh,
On an Indian reservation, there's nothing racist about Redskin. There's nothing racist about Uncle Ben, about Aunt Jemima. And all of these things prove how little racism there is in America that you have to concentrate on such trivia.
uh, the fact that you are ignoring what like Black Lives Matter is about and people like fighting against systemic racism is actually fighting against shows you have some type of agenda you want to push to try to get people to believe that there isn't actually racism in America and that it isn't systemically racist when it actually is. I mean, a when you have the president of the United States pushing various videos supporting uh, people saying white power or saying that neo-Nazis are good people. That's that's pretty indicative on the systemic racism, as well as the fact that the cops are allowed to pretty much kill black people and get away with it. And then you got mass incarceration, which was targeted towards black people because the 13th Amendment never did away with slavery, it just made it legal as a punishment. So, uh, the use of jails has been used to re-enslave black people.
That people were impassioned about the Washington Redskins name or the Cleveland Indians? I'll never forget somebody called my show, because I've been talking about this for years. One of my favorite calls on my radio show, guy calls me up. Hey, Dennis, so you defend Cleveland Indians? What would you think if a team were named the Jews? I'm a Jew, so he asked me that. So I said, sir, Jews have been looking for fans for 3,000 years. That would be a great moment in Jewish history. Yay, Jews! Jews, go, Jews, go!
I wonder how he would feel about the people, you know, insulting the football team and using derogatory insults. Probably wouldn't feel the same.
People don't think clearly. I think it would be awesome if there were a team named the Jews. Or the Hebrews. The Israelites. Whatever name you want to have. It's just mind-blowing that we're living through nonsense, but it's dangerous nonsense, obviously. So why is this anti-racism hysteria? Racism is evil, okay? It's a given. But there isn't systemic racism in this country. And when you have to go to Uncle Ben and the like, and microaggressions, which are not racist, to say there's only one race, the human race, is actually anti-racist. If you think there's only one race, how could you be racist, right? By definition. So why are so many young people, and not just young, but I want to address the young, attracted to this? It is very attractive to think that you are doing good. It makes you feel good. That makes perfect sense. So when there's a cause that sounds good, and anti-racism is good, there's no way around it. So this has been the appeal of left-wing movements since communism. Hey, the communists said, we're against fascism. Who's not against fascism?
Okay, so now he's gonna try to connect being anti-racist with being communist, which is hilarious because this is a way of getting people to think that being anti-racist is bad because if it's somehow connected to communism and, quote unquote, communism is bad, that means being anti-racist is bad.
If you're a good person, you're against fascism. But the movement that was against fascism, theoretically, called communism, was evil. It slaughtered way more people than fascism. You don't learn about that stuff, about Mao and about Stalin and about Pol Pot. You don't
You also don't learn about uh, that George Washington actually had false teeth made from that of slaves, that Thomas Jefferson uh, married a slave that he raped, that uh, manifest destiny was just an excuse to justify genocide.
learn about that stuff, unfortunately, in schools. We have a very important video up at PragerU. Why don't people hate communism as much as Nazism? It's worth devoting 5 minutes to watching that. So people are seduced because there's something inherently wonderful about being anti-racist. But the movement itself is a terrible movement. And it is undoing the greatest country ever made. And I don't say it because I'm American.
It's undoing the greatest country ever made. Um, if being anti-racist is bad because it's dismantling a system, then that means that system is built upon racism. Because he actually hasn't shown why it's bad to be anti-racist, besides um, pointing to some businesses looking to change their name or image of a product, as well as trying to link anti-racism with communism. But the U.S. system was built upon racism, and the right wing, like Dennis Prager, heavily still benefits from racism in the United States. So to be against that, for him, it is something that is quite bad. But the immigrants and their success topic that he's going to get into, it's basically going to be some uh, model minority propaganda where he'll point out to certain successful minorities and use that uh, as a point that the United States isn't racist. Um, when you if you know what a the model minority propaganda is, you'll realize how racist it actually is.
There's proof. This is the country most people in the world would want to move to more than any other. Poll after poll. And by the way, I want to remind you, I have told you over and over, 2 million black Africans have moved to the United States in the last 20 years. I kept saying 50 years, it's 20 years. 2 million black Africans. But I didn't know this until I looked it up. Another million blacks have moved to the U.S. from the Caribbean. Why would these people move to a systemically racist country? Are any Jews moving to Iran? I mean, think about the absurdity. What are they, all stupid? You're moving to America? That's a systemically racist place. Did you see Uncle Ben? Right? And this is, and they do well. They do very well when they move here. Nigerians do better than whites. Statistically, on terms of income, Nigerians, that's a West African country, major country in West Africa, do better in the U.S. than whites do.
Okay, a lot of the immigrants that are able to move over from like overseas are wealthier people, so they have greater access to various resources and services. Um, it's something that the United States has been doing for a while in order to point out and be like, look at these groups of people. Why aren't, other black people acting like them? Or why don't other minorities um, act like, such and such a citizen? Um, there's actually, if you check out Adam Ruins Everything, he actually talks very well about uh, the model minority propaganda that the United States did and still does.
Japanese Americans were in internment camps under Franklin Roosevelt, a Democrat, I might add, and they do better than whites. If you work hard, this is called a microaggression. If you work hard, don't have children before you get married, you will succeed.
Uh, yes, that is true, but it's harder to succeed um, when your family has been when your family has gone through generational poverty and been forced to be poor uh, due to various laws. Um, like the effects of Jim Crow can still be seen to this day. I mean, 60 years ago, people are still alive. Those families that were born during that time are still alive. And when people have been unable to gain wealth and what pass that down to their kids, uh, it's going to be harder for people to succeed and get anywhere in life.
Why is that racist? It's like saying 2 and 2 is 4 is racist, which, by the way, eventually will be said. So the appeal, oh, I'm fighting a good cause. You're fighting against America. You're not fighting racism. You're fighting America. And America's a good place.
It's a good place for who? It's like this idea of make America great again. When has America ever been great for like everybody in America? Throughout the entire history of the United States, America has only been great for a certain group of people. And then, even globally, America is not really seen as good. But if fighting against racism means you're fighting America, well, that, in my opinion, uh, kind of says that America is a racist nation. Which, I mean, historically, yes, the United States is a systematically a pretty racist nation. Um, Anytime immigrants have came into the United States, there has been mass xenophobia against them. The Chinese, the Japanese, the Italians, the Irish, and various others. Um, it is nothing really new for the United States. It's basically a nation built upon racism and xenophobia.
It's not a perfect place. It's composed of humans, and every human is flawed. But it's really done a lot of good. How's our man?